Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast presented by PointsBet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. I'm Jay Zawaski, joined remotely today by Greg Boysen and Mario Tirabassi. Fellas, it is good to see you. It is good to be in an air-conditioned space.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's been.
Yeah.
I told you guys off the air yesterday that the office was 85. My basement in the summer is approximately 40 degrees. So my feet are on a blanket right now. It's so cold down here, but I'll take that over pouring sweat.
Yeah, I stayed.
We got the update from the office.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason all the shows are remote today because they care about us at CHGO and we love them for that. But yeah, I decided to stay late at the office yesterday to write because I had a trivia night. Bad move. And then I show up to my trivia night and guess what? Their AC wasn't working. Yeah, it wasn't working either.
No.
So the pair of jeans I wore yesterday have been disposed of.
Oh my God.
You had to throw them out, huh? You had to retire them?
They are officially biohazard materials after 8
like
straight
taking
hours.
off a wetsuit.
Oh, lordy lord. Yeah,
Not
man.
Pretty. Not pretty.
Hey, you know what? A week ago, we're complaining about the rain. I'll take this.
Yeah,
I'll take some heat.
So.
We're well overdue. Speaking of
outside, yes, not inside.
Yeah. Speaking of hot, here we go. The NHL playoffs have been really, really good, really, really exciting. And I found myself last night as I was watching Calgary wrap up their win. How have the ratings been since the games have shifted over to TBS and ESPN? And as you'd predict, when they're put on a sports network that gets post-game coverage, promotions on channels people watch, it does really well. So here's what ESPN released a couple days ago. Through 16 games, the first round on ESPN and ESPN2 has 644,000 average viewers. That's up 27% from the 2021 first round cable coverage. Canes Bruins Game 4 peaked at 1.6 million viewers. That's a 1.02 million average. That's up 66% versus a comparable 2021 game. Rangers and Penguins, 914,000 average. 914,000 average viewers, up 43% versus a comparable 2021 game. Pens Caps, 761K average. Viewers up 10% from a 2021 game. Turner, very similarly. Big jumps. Coverage is up 46% from them. And this is what really interested me. Female viewership for playoff games on TNT and TBS sees substantial increases, up 71% when compared to televised games to date last year, and up 73% from 2019. So it was really, I've been really pleased with the coverage that both channels have provided. There's things I would fix on each side, of course, but I just think the league having credibility on those networks, right? And the added benefit, as we discussed, before the season, is, ESPN is going to talk about it on SportsCenter because now they've got a horse in the race, right? So people are able to see these games, they're able to experience hockey. It's on in the background. Someone maybe fell asleep watching Office reruns or whatever, and they turn on the hockey games on. It does help that the games have been great, but it's really encouraging to see now that they're back with TBS, TNT, and especially ESPN, the numbers have gone up big, and that's very encouraging.
Yeah, when you finish a game and when you finish a broadcast and Scott Van Pelt is starting his show talking about the NHL playoffs, that's a big deal because that's a name at ESPN that brings some of the most cachet, and that's a show that even for late night gets a lot of eyes on it for fans of just sports in general. NBA playoffs have been huge, and I think it was Greg. Was it Greg Wyshynski or Lazarus? I can't remember which one, but one of them pointed out last night that the Panthers coming back and taking the lead against the Capitals was on the ESPN homepage in the middle of the NBA playoffs, which up until this season was like, the punchline was that ESPN didn't know what hockey was.
Right.
And I think to have two networks that are easy to find for viewers, to have these games is huge. Because how many times would you have to figure out like, okay, what channel is NBC Sports Network, or what channel is the CNBC when a game starts late or something like that. Like it would be hard to find. And and I think, people know ESPN, ESPN2, TNT, they know those channels. It's easy to find, it's easy to access. And I wondered too if the difference in the playoffs, the way formatting was, I wonder if that too changed or impacted viewership a little bit. Because I remember last year there were some matchups that you were just like, well, this is kind of a weird matchup. Like you wouldn't really expect people to tune in, even though it was still the playoffs. But yeah, I think we're back to the normal matchups. We're not going to get an all Eastern Conference or Western Conference final, Stanley Cup final, and yeah, I think it's great. And the broadcasts have been really good. I think the studios setups have been great. I think, both ESPN and TNT, they have a different feel to each broadcast, which is good. It's not one trying to copy the other. So yeah, I've been happy with the new way that these networks have been broadcasting the game. I think it's a great start, and hopefully it continues to bring in more of the casual fans and bring in new fans.
Yeah, I wonder how much credit you guys give to the studio shows. Do you think people tune in? And I don't know the answer to this. This is a real question. Do you think people are tuning in to see Chris Chelios, Mark Messier, Paul Bissonnette, the occasional Wayne Gretzky? I don't know. I mean, I guess you turn on your TV and there's pregame and there's recognizable hockey faces on the screen. That certainly helps. It doesn't hurt. But I wonder, I think the Turner coverage of the NBA has gotten so good that people do tune in for pregame and postgame, because that's like what 40% of the show.
Yeah,
is the game is one thing, but the postgame coverage is so excellent. I wonder how much people are jumping on because of the pre and post game analysis. I mean, it's definitely better than anything NBC tried. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the wrong person to ask because I hate pregame and postgame shows. Except for one, I love our postgame show. It's the only postgame show everybody should watch. But I'm not a pregame guy. Just get to the game already. Don't tell me a half hour of things I already know. Like maybe it's 20 years ago, pregame show was more informative because you didn't have injury reports and all this stuff at your fingertips 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So I can look up what I want to know before a game starts. I don't have to sit there and wait for Rick freaking Tocchet to tell me it. Like, I don't need it. So 7 o'clock puck drop, I am on the TV at 7 o'clock. I don't need the pregame show. In between periods, I don't really pay attention to it very much either, unless there was something specific I wanted to see again. And in the way that they have the staggered starts, when one game is going to intermission, I'm flipping over to the other game. I'm not even watching in between.
Yeah.
So it doesn't do a lot for me, but I'm not your quote unquote casual fan. I'm not the target audience for these. Like, I'm going to watch these games no matter what. They don't need something extra. The steak to me is the game.
Absolutely.
The sizzle, I don't need the sizzle. I'm there for the steak. I'm not there for the side dishes. So they're not catering to me. So it doesn't really matter. As far as like the casual fan, absolutely, I think it makes a difference when they have people, some personalities. I think there's improvements both networks need to make in the in-game and studio, who they have and all that stuff, but they're definitely laid a foundation to some very good coverage. A couple tweaks here and there can get even better. But I think it will make a difference to somebody who isn't paid to watch hockey and supposed to know all these things already. If I'm just some random guy that just say, hey, there's hockey, let's see what's on, I'll tune into the pregame show because I don't know. I'm not on Twitter all day looking up who's the starting goalie is or what, who the healthy scratch is. So I'm not the target audience for pregame, postgame shows, but I would have to think it makes a difference. So, we'll see what, but it's not for me.
Lots of folks in the chat seem to be favoring Turner over ESPN. I think that Turner is clearly trying to recreate the NBA coverage. They're trying to have the ribbing and the little jabs at each other, and whatever you think of Barstool, whatever you think of Spit and Chicklets or whatever, Paul Bissonnette brings an audience with him. He also is the sort of chop buster that he seems to have a rapport with everybody around the league where he can sort of take shots. He's taking shots at Gretzky, all in fun and stuff. But I think the idea, it's very clear what Turner's trying to do. And I have to say, aside from Tocchet, who I think brings nothing, what I see in Tocchet is a guy who knows he wants to coach again and doesn't want to offend anybody. Which is understandable, but just then get him out of there, right?
Can I interrupt for 1 second? Just
yes,
one
of course.
Quick second.
Yes.
While we're talking about Rick Tocchet, the next person on Twitter that says Rick Tocchet should be the next Blackhawks coach is getting punched in the side of the head.
Is that happening?
I've seen it. I've seen it multiple times.
Rick Tocchet should be more than just the one time last week.
No, I've seen it at least 3 times this week. Ever since the Barry Trotz thing, I've seen we don't need Trotz, we need Rick Tocchet. So let's just knock that off right now. Okay, sorry, Jay.
I think they're Tick Rocket. Is that the name of the account? Totally not Rick Tocchet.
That's the name of a '90s alternative band.
I love hockey gambling. 92.
Yeah. People don't seem to like Tocchet. I really think he's holding back. He doesn't want to go hard on a player that he might end up coaching. And again, I get it, but like you got to do, like you're a hard ass coach. You have a job to do the job. And you can still be critical and be fair. Like the three of us are critical of the Blackhawks all the time, but we're not like, he's just a dork. Like we don't make fun of him.
Right.
It's all valid analysis if you're watching the game and seeing how a guy performs. I think you can give critical analysis without being personal, without taking it too far, and without crossing a line. And I think if Tocchet's going to stay on the dais,
on the radar,
he's going to have to learn, hey, give an opinion. You don't have to rip anybody, but you got to give some thoughts here. And he just hasn't. But other than that, I've been really pleased with both stations' coverage. And I don't know if you guys noticed last night during the game, Leah Hextall Twitter was all over her.
Yeah.
And I know a portion of it is the gross misogyny of just men watching sports or whatever. And like women shouldn't do this. Fine. That's 40% of it. But a lot of the criticism of her was she gives too much description, which is an interesting criticism for a broadcaster. That's too much. Like, this is what I do.
I think that's something that for a TV broadcast of a game, like this season when they brought in like John Weideman to do a TV game, like he has to like tone down how much he actually describes, because he's used to doing it for radio where you have to tell the audience everything because they're not watching it. But when you get that kind of like radio feel to the broadcast while you're watching, you're like, I know, I see it. I'm watching this. Like you don't have to tell me everything, and then you can get into word salads and whatnot. So I agree with you, Jay. I think there is a portion of the criticism that's coming to her just because it's a woman in a broadcast position in a male dominated sport, and that just comes with it, unfortunately. But I do enjoy her. I do enjoy her calls. I think she was really good at the college level. But at the NHL level, I don't know if it's just the speed of the game goes much faster than at the college level, and then she's like broadcasting to like catch up to it. I don't know if that's the case, but I mean, I've watched college games of her that she's done and had no issues with the broadcast that she put in. But I think the NHL is probably a little bit more of a ruthless audience, so it's hard criticism.
You think?
Yeah.
No,
my thing with her is she ends her D's with T's, like third period.
Oh.
Like she does that, and now that I've planted that seed for you,
yeah, I'm never been here.
My friend,
welcome to the Stanley Cup Playoffs, my friend. It's time for the first period.
But Mario, to your point, it's obviously wonderful that women are getting opportunities and to broadcast men's games, and that's great. Like if you're a good broadcaster, you're a good broadcaster. It shouldn't matter. Like I don't think Kenny Albert was some great all-star hockey player. Was Sam Rosen? Like, is Sam Rosen awesome at hockey? So no. If you're a good broadcaster, you're a good broadcaster. But that comes with criticism, and just as Tony Romo and Jim Nantz and like Tom Brady, when he decides to start broadcasting, they're going to get criticized criticism comes with the territory, and it is not always just butthurt men, like, I don't want a lady calling the game. Like, fine. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But like, it's sort of what Colby Cohen was saying to us the other day. And if you missed that, go check it out. When the feedback is just, you suck, that's not helpful.
It's not feedback.
Right? It's not feedback. It's not just say, hey, I saw, like, I can't remember who it was, but whoever said that about her giving too much information, that is a very valid criticism, right? Let the game breathe a little bit. And look, it comes with time. She's new at this,
Right.
So just like a coach or a player, you got to get flight miles to improve. And I'm confident she will, but I hope the criticism is coming from a constructive place and not a personal place.
She's been fine. She's had good games. She's had bad. My biggest criticism of her is she's a bit too shouty for me. Like every play she's yelling at me. It's like, just stop yelling at me. It's okay. Like
her and Butcher
Sam
Gross.
Rosen.
Her and Butcher Gross do the same thing.
Yeah.
And
it's like, not every zone entry deserves to be screamed at me.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. Save that for the spectacular play, so I know it's a spectacular play. Otherwise, I'm just going to be like, oh my God, this is like, it's a little nerve-wracking. So a little less screamy, and that's all I ask. Otherwise, let it grow. What
I've really liked about the new, the new setup that the NHL has with their broadcasting, both being on ESPN and TNT, is that you do have, your top broadcast teams. Your A team on TNT is Albert and Olchak, and on ESPN it's Steve Levy, and I that you have those. But what NBC had was, like, if you had Doc and Eddie, like, you knew you had the broadcast. Like, that was the network was like, we're going to put our top A team on this broadcast. What I like with ESPN and TNT is that they have a lot of different people working together on these games. And to me, there's no clear cut, like, oh, they're the best team of broadcasters on the game. Like, there was really not a point yet where we're at that it's like, yeah, you have your A teams, but there's not like a duo or a trio or whatever that you're like, oh, they're the best, and anything other than them is going to be a lesser broadcast. Like, there's a lot of groups that have done really well for their broadcasts.
You know who would make it sound big? Gary Thorne.
Yeah. I was bummed when he didn't get when he wasn't part of that.
He's like 75 though, right? Like, he's getting up there. I mean, he still does broadcasting. Like, he's still broadcasting baseball games and stuff. Like, he's still in it. But yeah, I was hoping for him to come back.
Gary Thorne was big time game in my childhood, teenage 20s. Yeah. The first ESPN go around. That was the voice of the Stanley Cup final before Doc Emmerich. Yeah, Gary Thorne. I'm old enough to remember Gary Thorne doing White Sox games.
There you go.
Wow,
didn't that happen?
Cool.
Or did I imagine
I remember that? I remember that. Yeah, sure.
For like a year or so. That's how many gray hairs I have in my beard.
I remember Pat Foley doing a Cubs game. This had to be 25 years ago or something, but it was awesome. For me, I was like, whoa, both things I like.
Yeah.
My worlds are coming together.
It's like when two of your favorite musicians like play together on the same song. It's like, wow, okay, we could do this every day. I'm cool with this.
A couple folks in the chat mentioning that if Leah Hextall is not ready for a big broadcast, then she shouldn't be on one. And I see what you're saying, but they hire a crew, they hire a certain amount of people, they have X amount of games to cover. So they are comfortable letting her develop on the job. And look, the ratings are good. A lot of people were watching. The fact that Leah Hextall was trending last night means a hell of a lot of people were watching the hockey game. Mm-hmm. So I think they're comfortable. And as the rounds go on and the games become less frequent, you'll have the higher and higher broadcast crews more often. It's just a numbers game at this point.
Yeah,
but look, you got to let people learn on the fly.
Yeah, you got 8 series to cover right now, so you need a lot of announcers. So, like, I wouldn't expect her to be on the conference final calls. But hockey play-by-play guys, you just can't walk into your local Walmart and say, hey, give me a 6-pack of hockey play-by-play announcers and you're good to go. It's a niche sport in this country. It's a very difficult sport to call. It's so fast. It's not baseball where you can literally sit there and pretty much do a 3-hour podcast and every once in a while go, oh yeah, ball 4. It's fast paced. It's not for everybody. And so I think finding, I think finding talented people to do this, on a short-term basis, it's a difficult job to do. Yeah. And you also got to remember that during these early rounds, all 16 of these teams also have their local broadcasts providing the games too. So all those guys and women who are doing those, they're not available. If there was exclusively on ESPN, then maybe you could get, the Tampa Bay play-by-play guy and the Toronto color guy to do that series, because that would be fun, because it would be two guys that know these teams better, and it would be a better broadcast. It's just not an option right now. So
that's what I don't know if you guys saw this. It started last weekend, Sunday mornings on Peacock. It's like 10:30 Chicago time.
The baseball games, yeah.
And it's Jason Benetti is the play-by-play guy, and then they bring in the analysts from each team that's playing. So what was it? It was Sox and Red Sox for the first one. So it was Steve Stone and Kevin Youkilis with Jason Benetti. I would love that. That would be great. And it gives guys like that the opportunity as the playoffs go on to be there on the call when their teams win. Like, that's one of the few things about the dynasty that wasn't great was we don't have Pat Foley calling a game winner.
Yeah.
We have a manufactured one, but we don't have a legitimate Pat Foley, the Hawks win the cup. That doesn't exist in except for a replication. So that
and it was fun, when the Blackhawks were in the playoffs, but when those games, the early games, would get on to the local broadcast, it was great to be able to experience that playoff hockey atmosphere with the voice that you were familiar with. Like, it made it pretty special. But yeah, I think if the NHL could get creative a little bit and maybe do some of those things where they have someone local for the teams to be part of the broadcast at some point in a playoff game, like, I think that'd be awesome. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And to like you guys were saying, to find people who are quality and good enough to do the game at a national level in a playoff atmosphere, that's very hard to find. And I did a color commentary for an Ice Hogs game a few years ago. Joey let me come on to try it out, and it was fucking hard. Like, it was like, and I've done broadcasting. I've done games in college and stuff before for different sports, but for hockey, just, man. So it's you watch it as a fan, you're like, this is a fast game, and then you watch it and you're trying to like analyze in your head what's happening and then convey that, and in real time you're like, I was like, oh no, like, I was like, thank God it was with Joey, who's so good. It was like, if I was doing this with anybody else, I'd look like a moron, and I probably did anyway, but it was just an insane experience. So to find people who are good enough to do national playoff games, that's a special talent.
So there's a lot of stuff going on in the chat that I want to address too. Like, Games and Rose is saying, like, you need to work your way up to this job. Leah Hextall has been broadcasting since 2005, working her way up. She was with CTV Winnipeg. She worked her way up to Nesson. Then she joined Calgary Flames broadcasts. Like, she has done this. They didn't just like say, your last name's Hextall, come and call a hockey game. The fact that you don't love her voice.
She did the Frozen Four.
Yeah, the fact that you don't love her voice or she's too wordy doesn't mean she's unqualified for the job. It's a taste thing, right? Some people loved Hawk Harrelson. Some people hated Hawk Harrelson. It doesn't mean he wasn't qualified for the job. So I think just pump the brakes. This is a human being. You know what I mean? Like, she's doing her best. I'm sorry she's giving you too much information. I had the same criticism, but at least she's not just like, here's a draw, pass, goal. You know what I mean? She's working her ass off. She's working as hard as any broadcaster.
There's a Joe Buck clip that's like that.
That's a major league. Fly ball. Caught.
I don't think people realize how much work goes into calling any sports game, especially a hockey game. That was one of the things about when covering the AHL for all those years. You're in the press box and you're usually right next to the play-by-play guy. Like, it's not like being in an NHL rink where they're in their separate thrown and you're off to the side. You're pretty much, I've spent a lot of AHL games sitting directly next to who's ever calling that game or directly in front. And you have to see how much work they put in before the game, during the game. It's amazing. Like as a kid, I wanted to be the next Harry Carrier, the next Pat Foley. And then when I saw up close, like what it actually takes, I was like, nope, I never want to do that because that looks freaking hard. So, and then that's at the AHL level when you got like 90 people watching on a feed and maybe a couple thousand on the radio. Now take that person, put them on a national broadcast game for a playoff game being shown in Canada. There's a human element to this. It's, yes, if you don't like somebody because you don't think they do a good job, that's great. That's your opinion. We all have those, but just, as you talk with Colby, as you mentioned earlier, there's the human aspect to this. Everybody is not perfect. You don't like them, that's great. But, to don't attack their credentials when they obviously have them.
Threats. Colby told us he was getting death threats. What the hell?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people who don't realize, like, when they're putting things on social media and whatnot, that there are like, these are real people who read those things and have to deal with those kinds of comments and like he said on our show, he can brush it off because he knows what's going on, and he knows that's part of the job is getting criticism and feedback in that nature. But then he's my friends and his wife and his family, like, being concerned. It's just like, okay, that's the real life part of it. And I think if there's a line to cross between criticizing someone, saying, hey, I don't think you captured the essence of the game properly, to piss off, you suck. Like, okay, cool. Like, it's not
helpful.
It's not helpful. No, it takes away from the fun.
All right, we've got a lot to get to, so let's keep getting to it. I want to remind everybody, though, the best way to support CHGO is to download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. If you do that right now, you'll get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, but that's not it. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you're going to get a free CHGO membership. That unlocks all of our great web content, including Greg's Ice Hogs Wolves preview, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. That's 2 G's in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free shirt from the CHGO locker, all for making a $50 or more first-time deposit at PointsBet. It's your home for live in-play betting, and it just got even better. Introducing PointsBet's new feature, Live NBA Same Game Parlay. For the first time ever, you can build the perfect live NBA Same Game Parlay only with PointsBet. Watch live, parlay live, and boost live with PointsBet. And remember, online sign-up is available now in Illinois, so you can download the PointsBet app and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Mario, you want to fill us in on your improving gut health?
Yes, my improving gut health and my improving overall health.
Good.
Yeah, Athletic Greens, they have been a sponsor of CHGO Podcasts and CHGO Sports for a while now. If you haven't checked out their AG1 product yet, I definitely recommend it. It is doing wonders for me, feeling a lot better after dealing with COVID. It is a formula designed to improve your gut health, give you more natural energy, and boost your immune system. With 1 scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. And if you have different dietary restrictions or different lifestyle diets you do, AG1 is good with all of them, whether it's keto or vegan or dairy-free, gluten-free, whatever it is. You're able to put it into your diet and be completely fine with it. It's easy to incorporate into your life. All you have to do is have 1 scoop of AG1 in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills or supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is go to athleticgreens.com/CHGO Blackhawks. That's athleticgreens.com/CHGO Blackhawks to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
I'm looking forward to seeing you back, buddy.
I will be back. I will be back on Monday. I have passed the NHL protocols, 2 negative tests. We're good to go.
Speaking of Monday, just a little tease as we look ahead to next week. The Hawks Brain Trust of Kyle Davidson, Norm McIver, and Jeff Greenberg will be meeting and talking on Monday. So we're going to be a little bit delayed. We're going to be on at 3 p.m. on Monday, reacting to all that. We'll be at the United Center taking in that presser, so that should be a lot of fun. Make sure you join us there. All right, we got some other. We're going to get to the playoffs in a little bit here. We also are going to slow roll our Throwback Thursday segment, which we're starting in earnest next week. But we've got some preliminary NHL awards finalists announced. We've got the Norris Trophy. We've got the Vezina, the Calder, and the Hart. Let's start with the Norris Trophy, who we've all already named Cale Makar the winner. The three of us, I believe.
The next 10, my friend.
That's exactly 10. Right. Roman Josi from Nashville, 80 games played, 23 goals, 73 assists, 96 points. That's a great season. Cale Makar with Colorado, 77 games, 28 goals, 58 assists for 86 points. And Victor Hedman, if he can have a quiet, great season, he kind of did. 82 games, 20 goals, 65 assists, 85 points. That's a guy who's just so good that people are just like, yeah, Victor Hedman.
Yeah, there he
whatever.
is.
Duncan Keith kind of got to that point in his career where it was just like, he's just pretty much perfect.
Yeah.
The one thing that frustrates me when I'm listening to like the national talking heads about this topic is, the Roman Josi should win it because he's been so good for so long. Blow it out your ass. Like, I don't care.
He's already got one. Yeah.
This is not a career achievement award. It's who's the best defenseman this year.
Season.
And Roman Josi was absolutely spectacular, but Cale Makar was better. Better.
Yeah.
Sorry, that doesn't take away from the amazing season Roman Josi, but to hear people on the NHL network and on our national broadcast, like, well, Roman Josi's been a really good defender for so many years. So what?
Then give him the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yes, then put him in the Hall of Fame when his career is over. That's what that's about. He's been fabulous this year. Second best defenseman in hockey. End of story.
They already gave the Norris to Adam Fox last year, so you've bucked the trend of this guy deserves one because he's been good for a long time. Like, We're not it
to one of these young guys last year, and there's no problem doing it again.
I mean, you look at, I know it's a regular season award, but thank God, Nashville and Colorado went head to head because it was clear as day who is the better who's the better defenseman and has a bigger impact on his team between Josi and Makar. Cale Makar is, I know it said in the chat, he could win a decade's worth of Norris's if he's able to continue this level of play. Like, he's already so young and he's literally the best offensive, creative, like he has a game that could change the way defensemen play in the NHL, because now we're getting this term of like rover player. And it's like, it's so true. It's like, it's what people wanted Eric Gustafsson to be, where, he can play forward. No, he can't. Cale Makar could literally play any position and be effective across the ice.
Yeah.
And that's not hyperbole. And it's just insane how good he is. I think Josi had an incredible season. He was, the catalyst to Nashville's offensive attack, which you kind of don't want to say as a defenseman, but I mean, that's how Nashville was constructed. But yeah, it's clearly Cale Makar. I mean, he almost scored 30 goals. Like,
highlight real goals.
Yeah. And it's not just, he's not just throwing the puck from the blue line and hoping for, to get through a screen and score. Like, he took Kirby Doc's soul this season. Like, it was insane.
Won't stop showing that, by the way. Yeah, that is on a loop for eternity in my brain, man. Like that, that is every highlight package has that happening.
Mm-hmm. I may be sounding ridiculous here, and I'm the pump the brakes guy usually, but like Cale Makar is like the modern day Bobby Orr. He's revolutionizing that position. I mean, it's already been an offensive minded position for the past decade or so, but he's taking it to the next level. When Bobby Orr showed up, he did things nobody ever dreamed a defenseman would do. And there's been a lot of great offensive defensemen since, but Makar is now taking that offensive minded defenseman position to a whole new level. And I think we're only just begun seeing what this kid could do as long as he could stay healthy. Such a special talent. I mean, I purposely watch, like when I know he's on the ice, my eyes are automatically on him. Like that's all I watch. He's amazing.
They also he draws you to him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go out of your way to find him because he usually has the puck.
Mm-hmm. And it's, you know, the points in the highlight reel goals are one thing, but it's also, you know, the Norris Trophy has been like, oh, who's just scored the most points as a defenseman? Like, nah, like Makar is also very sound defensively. Like he's not just out there, you know, scoring 70, 80 points and he's a +2 or something. Like he's like, he is effective defensively as well. So,
and he's also going to get better defensively. And Jason in the chat says
he's only 20 something.
Yeah. Jason compares Makar to Duncan Keith with a little defensive downgrade, but adding a Kane-like impact on offense. Offense. I don't know. I said it weird. But that's true. He does have, like, maybe he's not to Duncan Keith's caliber of defender, but remember, Duncan Keith is a top 100 all-time hockey player.
Yeah.
A multiple Norris, like he is this generation's probably best defenseman. And so if he's a little notch below Duncan Keith, that's still very freaking good.
And Duncan Keith wasn't that an elite defenseman at age 22 or 23 either.
Yeah, it took time.
Yeah.
And I know that's not what Jason was saying, by the way.
Right.
Like, yeah, Jason's agreeing with us, but just
like career arc, I feel very confident saying that Cale Makar, his career arc as an individual will probably be better than Duncan Keith's was.
And that's coming from the guy wearing the Duncan Keith hat.
Yeah.
And I have my Duncan Keith jersey hanging in my closet.
Like, I love Duncan Keith. And I mean, it's that's a cool debate that we can hopefully, when we're still doing this show together in 7 or 8 years, we can get one of our DNVR guys on it and say who had the better career, Duncan Keith or Cale Makar.
And we'll fight to the death. Yeah. All right, next up is the Vezina Trophy. Your finalist, Jacob Markstrom from Calgary, 37-15-9 with a 2.22 goals against and a 922 save percentage. UC Saros from Nashville, 38-25-3 with a 2.64 and a 918 save percentage. And Igor Shesterkin from the Rangers, 36-16-4 with a 2.07 goals against and a .935 save percentage. Do we need to have this talk?
No. I mean, when you're not to do spoiler alert, but when you're also a Hart finalist at that position, why are we even going through the motions here?
Yeah.
He was the best goalie in the league. No
credit to Markstrom and Saros. Like their teams don't get where they are now without them. Clearly, Nashville didn't have any chance without him in net. But yeah, Shesterkin, like in a NHL era where scoring is at the highest it's ever been, to have an over 930 save percentage and nearly a 2 flat goals against, that's incredible.
Yeah. January in the chat, a big Rangers fan says they don't make the playoffs without Igor.
No,
that's probably true. And that is kind of the definition of an MVP, right? But yeah, it almost never goes to a goalie.
Good thing it's a regular season award because playoffs. We'll get into those games. I mean,
definitely.
I know we're not going to hang him out to dry completely, but
you can only do so much.
Maybe he should have started a few less games in the regular season, but that just shows you how valuable he was. If he starts 10 less games, they're not where they are. So it's a double-edged sword.
Mm-hmm. All right, next we move on to the Calder Memorial Trophy for the Rookie of the Year. Moritz Seider, defenseman for the Red Wings, 82 games, 7 goals, 43 assists, 50 points, and a bunch of big hits.
Yeah.
Love that kid.
All the big hits.
Trevor Zegras for the Ducks, 75 games played, 23 goals, 38 assists, 61 points, and all the highlight reel goals. The aged Michael Bunting from Toronto, 79 games.
According to Twitter, Michael Bunting invented the printer press.
Seriously.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
23 goals, 40 assists. Do you do the math? 63 points. I feel like Zegras is going to win it because I think the league sees him as very marketable. I give it to Seider.
Seider's my guy too.
My vote would be my points bet was on Moritz Seider. But yeah, I could see a world where Trevor Zegras would win it. I think he was definitely top of mind as far as rookies go for a long time this season. Obviously the highlights speak for themselves, but yeah, I mean, his development already as a rookie is really impressive. But you say the same thing for Moritz Seider, like, the anchoring anchoring an NHL blue line as a rookie, basically with the Red Wings. Like, that's impressive. And he's a player that really has a lot of completeness to his game. Obviously, he's still raw as a rookie, but you can see like the offensive side, the defensive side, the physicality. Like, you can see the makings of a guy who's going to be a long time number one. There will be a number one defenseman eventually and be there for a long time. And Bunting, like, yeah, you know, the whole discourse about, you know, how old a rookie should be, you know, it's just like, look, like, this is he's not the definition is first year NHL player. If you want to make it best teenager, you got to change the requirements then. But I mean, you know, Bunting came in, he made an impact. It helps that he played with, you know, Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews.
Yeah, a little bit.
But you know, if you're upset that Bunting's a finalist, you got to have that same energy for Artemi Panarin winning it after being a stud in the KHL and then coming and playing with, you know, pre-decline Jonathan Toews and MVP Patrick Kane. Like, you know, it's the same argument. So
you just hurt my soul with using pre-decline Jonathan Toews as like,
well,
I know it's accurate. It's totally accurate. It's
tough love,
but it just it stings. It stings so much. All right, so the last one we have, and it's very weird they would just throw this one in the middle of the awards announcements. You'd think they'd save the Hart Trophy for last, but it's the NHL, so they're going to do what they do. Austin Matthews from Toronto, 73 games, 60 effing goals, 46 assists, 106 points. Igor Shesterkin from the Rangers, who we already discussed, 36, 16-4, 2.07, 935. And Connor McDavid of the Oilers, 80 games, 44 goals, 79 assists, 123 effing points. The guys closest to him, neither of them get a Hart Trophy nomination. Jonathan Huberdeau from Florida and Johnny Gaudreau from Calgary, each tied with 115 points. Those were the two closest guys to McDavid's 123. And look, like you talk about like the boredom people are getting with Victor Hedman being so great. You have to wonder if Connor McDavid's greatness being so like everyone getting used to it, if it's going to cost him a few MVP trophies. Because the guy he's otherworldly. He's the best player in the game. There's no doubt about it. But he's not going to win the award this year. I think this is going to be the case of who do I think should win the award versus who I think is going to win the award, and it's going to be Austin Matthews. I'm not taking anything away from him. 60-goal season is incredible, but playing for Toronto and doing what he did is going to get you a lot more votes than doing what you did playing for Edmonton. And yeah, Igor was fantastic, the most valuable player on the Rangers. Zero argument about that. But you know, for a goalie to win the Hart, it's got to be like a ridiculously amazing season. And not saying he wasn't great, but he's got the Vezina. I don't think he's going to get the Hart. He's worthy of being a finalist. Absolutely.
It's Austin Matthews scoring 60 goals for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't see any way that he doesn't get the award.
And how many really good players have just been ruined by Toronto? Like it is a different animal there. And he's been up to the task.
I see they hate William Nylander again. They loved him last year. They hate him again this year. Mitch Marner will be hated next week.
It's a game-by-game basis, yeah.
I can't wait. You mentioned talking to DNVR about Duncan Keith versus Cale Makar in 10 years. If a TNTO ever opens, or TRTO, I don't know, whatever it would be, I want to have is Austin Matthews the best Maple Leaf ever talk? And that, you could probably start that conversation.
You can start
right now.
Yeah, he's definitely in the team photo. At this point, there's no doubt about that,
if you will.
Yeah, for sure.
He's there. He's definitely on his way to getting that title in very short order, I think, because he's phenomenal.
I'm giving it to Matthews for the record.
As we just said, that market can just chew people up, and if they have they're up 3-2 in their series right now. They have another collapse. They don't win a cup this year, next year, does he eventually just say, I can't do this anymore?
I want to lead the Blackhawks rebuild. I'm on.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Bring him here.
No, guys, sure. He's going to Coyotes.
Yes,
because that's where
he wants to showcase his talents in front of 3,000 people.
You can only play for the city you're from.
Exactly.
That's why Patrick Kane is definitely going to Buffalo.
And Jonathan Toews will go to Winnipeg, and
that's it.
Yeah.
There are no other
options. I think as far as being the definition of what an MVP is, it's Shesterkin, because if you pluck these three guys out of their team's rosters and just put in like league average guy, the Rangers don't get to I don't think the Rangers even make the playoffs without him. Edmonton, maybe they probably still make the playoffs, and Toronto probably still makes the playoffs too. Like I don't think I think if you go by that definition, it should be Shesterkin. But it's not going to be.
It's just not how it's ever done.
It's just not how, no. For a goalie to win the MVP in this day and age of the NHL, it would have to be an otherworldly
and you have
season.
to play in Montreal. You have to play in Montreal.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Because the last two Hart Trophy winners were Canadians. Josie Theodore and Carey Hart.
No, you're right though. I mean, see, and this is the age-old argument in every sport: is what is MVP? Is MVP the best player, or is MVP the person most valuable to his team? Exactly. And that's what it should. There should be two separate awards.
And there are in the NHL.
Technically,
there's the Hart, and then there's the Lindsay. The Lindsay's for the most outstanding player,
and that never
that's
gets
voted on by.
But that's voted on by the players. Yeah, and that's the problem. People are just like, the players, whatever. Like
But those are the guys that know. Those are the guys that know best. I mean, according to half the comments in our chats, we never played hockey, so how dare we even talk about the sport?
Hey,
so who better to vote?
NHL '94 since 1994, my friends.
Hey, I will go get my hockey bag and show you.
Sticks right there.
We didn't play professionally, so how do we dare have the opinion on this? So who better to have an opinion than the guys playing against these guys?
If you were a player, wouldn't the Lindsay mean more to you than the Hart?
You'd think.
It's less prestigious, but to me, it would be like, holy shit! Like all these guys think I'm the best. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, but the cachet that's put on each trophy, each award is not the same. People don't count Lindsay's; they count Harts. And I think, I mean that's the Sidney Crosby only has one MVP. Is that true? I think because he doesn't have as many as you think he would have for how good he's been his entire career, being one of the best, if not the best player in the NHL for a long-standing portion of his career. Some could still argue that he might be still at the top. You'd lose that argument, but you could make it. But yeah, I mean, McDavid is just otherworldly, and it really feels like he might end up suffering the same kind of fate, being that like he's so good that people get bored of it, and it's like, yeah, we know he's so good, who else could be as good as him? And then they end up getting recognition for it. So I mean, if I had to put money on it, which I did with PointsBet, I would put it on Austin Matthews, just because I think the 60 goal season is really hard to ignore, especially doing it in Toronto, like you said, Greg. And I think it's part of that, ho hum, Matt McDavid is so good kind of attitude that I think it'll be close vote, but I think it's going to go to Matthews. Excuse me.
You're right. There it is. COVID got him.
All dead. Choked up over Austin Matthews.
Woo! All right.
Speaking about putting money, though.
Greg, it's your time to shine, my friend.
It's time for the PointsBet play of the week. It's Thursday. We do this every Thursday, and we are on a winning streak. We've won 2 PointsBet play of the weeks in a row with our buddies down in Sunshine, Florida, the Panthers. So guess what? The play of the week, we're riding that Panther train all the way to the bank. They had a big win last night. Didn't look very good for a while. Down 3-0 in the second period on home ice to Washington, and they came back to win 4-3 to take a huge 3-2 series lead. So we're going to bet tomorrow night's game at Game 6 at Washington. The play of the week are the Panthers minus a goal and a half at plus 130. That sounds really good to me.
I like that a lot.
Because listen, Panthers get how many these games end with an empty net goal that puts you up by 2, which last time I checked is more than 1.5. So I'm thinking Florida is going to take a 3-2 lead into the third period, get that empty netter, 4-2 win, and you're going to win on PointsBet. So make sure you're downloading that app. You're using that CHGO code if you haven't signed up already. So our PointsBet play of the week are the Florida Panthers minus 1.5 at plus 130.
I'm being told by our producer Lawrence that yes, indeed, 2 is more than 1.5. Thank you, Lawrence.
That's why he's the best producer in the game.
I'm still waiting on the NHL to implement the half goal rule.
That'd be cool.
That would change the landscape of betting.
Yeah. All right. We got 2 more things to get to, so let's do it quick. I don't know if we're gonna do our full playoff recap, but we got big games tonight. Game 6, Toronto can eliminate the Lightning. Whew.
Not gonna happen.
What? Oh, not going to happen.
Historically, will not happen.
No, I said in our predictions that Toronto will lose in the most painful way possible.
Well, and the fact that Vasilevsky has won his last 17 games following a playoff loss.
Is that good?
And it's Toronto, and it's in Tampa.
Lawrence is telling me again that is good.
That's also good. Yes, the Leafs are also 0-6 in the last couple of years with the opportunity to close a series.
Okay, I like their odds.
so there you go.
We've got the Kings and Oilers at 9 p.m. And then, our Minnesota Wild are they might get eliminated. Game 6 in St. Louis. And guess who's not in goal for them tonight?
Marc-Andre Fleury.
It's not officially the Stanley Cup playoffs until Marc-Andre Fleury gets benched. I mean, we've seen this before. Before we get jumping down people's throats. We love Marc-Andre Fleury, but every season it seems that at some point in a playoff run, even runs that ended with him winning a Stanley Cup, he lost his job at some point. I think this is a panic move on the Wild's part, Dean Evanson's part. When you have a guy that was an all-star this year, but he hasn't played
when your backup is Cam Talbot, who I think was like 11-0-3 to finish the season or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's a pretty good option.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he's pulling Scott Foster out of the stands here, but
it's my fault.
It's up to it. It is.
I bought this on the inaugural. Well, not you guys. You guys had plenty of shows under your belt, but when I decided to show up, my first show, trade deadline day, I bought this hat. Threatened to wear it, threatened to bring it to the studio, many times left it in my car, forgot I had it. So I've got to fix the mojo. Almost worse than losing out on the first round pick would be St. Louis Blues fans enjoying something.
Yeah. I'm not for that.
I need to make this not happen. I hope that me putting this on achieves that goal.
All we need to happen is Cam Talbot comes in. They force a game 7 and then eliminate the Blues. And then in the second round, Cam Talbot has a tough game or two, and then they go back to Fleury and he helps them win the second round. And then there you go. There's your minimum 4 wins, and there's your Western Conference Finals appearance. There you go.
If they lose to the Blues,
that's gonna suck.
What I've seen against
Flames hat then.
What I've seen against the Blues, even if they win these next 2 games in advance, I don't like their chances against Colorado, regardless who's playing in goal. That's going to be tough.
That's a tough series. That's a tough series.
Yeah, they might be tired from just bludgeoning their opponent.
Maybe.
Or like Billy Gardner said, too many days off.
Too many days off. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, all right. So. Before we get to our next little thing,
Hurricanes and Bruins too tonight.
Oh yeah, I got that tonight.
Go Canes!
We will
Go
see
Canes.
Tabo advance, my friend.
And it's Auntie Ranta's birthday today, so what a great birthday present.
Is he back in net?
I believe so. Yes.
By the way, special shout out to Patrice Bergeron, which I never thought. Not Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand, which I never thought I would do. For telling Tony D'Angelo, you are a racist over and over and over again. Salute Brad Marchand.
The Brad Marchand face turn. Who saw that coming?
Right. But something I never thought I would say, but I was like, okay, I respect that level of smack talk.
Usually I'm like, God, this idiot is running his mouth again. And then when I saw what he was saying, I was like, can you do that all the time?
Yeah, let's do that all the time.
Yeah.
All right, so it's Thursday. as the offseason goes on, we're going to start doing Throwback Thursday shows. We'll talk about old Blackhawks series. We'll talk about Hawks, former Hawks, current Hawks that are celebrating a birthday, and just sort of spend some time talking about them and those things. So we're going to slow roll it because this show is gone. We've had a lot to talk about today. And Greg is our resident CHGO Blackhawks historian. You just gave us Antti Raanta's birthday. Is that our Throwback Thursday?
Well, he's the for today on this date back in 1985, a guy we all know and love, Eddie Olczyk, became the youngest player since expansion in 1967 to score a goal in either a conference or Stanley Cup final game at just 18 years and 269 days old. His historic goal was a shorthanded one, and it came in the Blackhawks' 8-6 win over the Edmonton Oilers in Game 4 of the Campbell Conference Final. Eddie Olczyk making history on this day back in 1985. Just a little quickly, I picked out a bunch of things for the week ahead, but there's a couple of things I'll get to real quick that are really important. May 15th was a very important day in Blackhawks history. One really good, one not so much. On May 15th, which is, what is that, Sunday? Yes, Sunday or Saturday.
12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah.
Sunday. On May 15th, 1926 was the day the NHL announced that they would include franchises in Chicago and Detroit for the 1926-1927 season, pushing the league to 10 teams. So that's like kind of the Blackhawks' birthday.
We're getting close to the 100th anniversary.
Yeah,
of the Hawks.
We are.
Couple of years,
getting there. So,
what better way to celebrate than with a return to the playoffs?
There you go. See, the marketing writes itself.
There you go.
Also on May 15th, even though that's technically the Blackhawks' birthday, they made one of the worst trades in franchise history on May 15th, 1967, when they traded a disgruntled Phil Esposito to the Boston Bruins, along with Ken Hodge and Fred Stanfield for Pitt Martin, Jack Norris, and Gilles Marotte.
At least they got Pitt Martin.
They did. Pitt Martin, great player. Nice player. Phil Esposito, boy, he had quite the career once he left here.
Yeah.
A lot of people forget that at one point the Blackhawks had both Phil and Tony on the same roster. But imagine this. Phil Esposito didn't think the Wirtz family was paying him enough money, and they got rid of him. That's unprecedented.
Boggles the mind.
History never repeated itself 18 or 19 more times.
Never again.
Yeah.
All right. Before we wrap up, I'm sorry, Greg. Do you have more? My bad.
We're forgetting a birthday. Victor Tikhonov.
Victor Tikhonov, the Blackhawks.
We not only almost forgot his birthday, most Blackhawks fans almost forgot he was a player for the Blackhawks.
I forgot he was
14, right?
Yes, he was.
And I think that's as many games as he played for Chicago too.
Yeah,
he was. How did we get him again? He came along with somebody. He
came from Arizona, I think.
Yeah, he was part of a trade.
One of the three teams Stan Bowman.
No. Was it Panarin? Because he was Panarin's buddy. So in order to get Panarin, we had to bring in Tikhonov.
He was before Panarin, wasn't he? I think he was. Didn't he play in like the 13-14 season, something like that?
Maybe. I thought he was somebody's Thomas Kopechki. I thought he was like, in order to get this guy, we have to bring in his buddy too.
I didn't look it up, but I feel like it might have been like the Klaus Dahlback trade or something like that.
All right, so here's a Tribune story. Tikhonov played for SKA St. Petersburg, where he was a teammate of Artemi Panarin, who the Hawks signed to a 2-year deal from blah, blah, blah. So was that connected?
I think it was. I think they got Panarin, and then they were like, "Hey, let's get your buddy here." Yeah, because he played for the Hawks during the 2015-16 season.
Oh, 15-16, okay.
11 games.
And
then he was traded to, or he was claimed off of waivers by the Coyotes. So he was signed as a free agent out of the KHL. So he was one of those. He was Artemi Panarin's Thomas Kopechki. That's
there you go. Didn't turn out as well though.
No.
No.
Sure didn't. I love Kopechki. Let's find him. What's he up to? He's got to be doing something.
There's that could be a throwback Thursday episode.
He's shown up in a couple Blackhawks throwback productions. So Yeah,
let's find him.
Probably still
Find
around
Thomas
somewhere.
Kopecky. I'll do that. I'll get to work on that. All right, before we wrap up, I want to ask you guys, as hockey fans, do you want Toronto to win or lose this series?
Man,
I want them to win. I want more Austin Matthews on my TV, please.
I would like to see more of Toronto, just because I think there's such a good team that yes, the Maple Leafs fan base and the way the team is covered and talked about and all that stuff is working against them. But I think player for player, they're such a good team that I think the players just need to be kind of like, I think they just deserve a little bit of like recognition. Like, how much of a monkey off their back would it be just to get to the second round? Like, I would love to see that. It would screw up my my three-peat pick, but I mean, I would love to see Toronto get a bone thrown to them. But I think, as we said before, history is not on their side whatsoever.
No, it is not.
Yeah, when I think of the overall good of the league, having Toronto go far would be very good.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't want to see it. I don't think their fan base deserves anything nice. And here's another selfish reason I want Tampa to win this series. I want Tampa to go all the way to the Cup final again. So when they come next year, the next 2 seasons, when the Blackhawks have their first round pick, they're really, really tired and they finish like just out of the playoffs. And now that pick becomes like the 11th, 12th pick.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right.
Or they get eliminated in the first round because they're too tired of 3 straight Stanley Cup finals.
See, we're looking at it like Stan Bowman. You're looking at it like Kyle Davidson. You're looking years down the road, and that's why you're the GOAT, Greg.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap things up. Before we do, we want to remind everybody to become a member at CHGO. Go to allchgo.com. Check out the written content. You'll get access to our CHGO locker. You're going to get a free shirt. It is awesome. The value's there. Are you tired of clicking on stories about the Hawks or the team you love, and then an ad plays, and there's a pop-up, and there's 100 things you have to scroll through, and then your screen jumps because another ad's loading? You're not going to get that at allchgo.com. It's ad-free. It is fully supported by the fans. So, and look, truth be told, it helps us out. If you like what we're doing here, it helps the company grow. It helps us stay afloat. It helps everything go very, very well at CHGO, as it's been going so far. So if you're a member already, thank you. If you're on the fence, give it a month. Try it out. See if you like it. We're confident you will love the coverage we give you, the Chicago sports fan, at allchgo.com. All right, we're going to talk to you tomorrow. Audio only episode should drop around 1:30, depending on your podcast app. Could be a little earlier, a little later. Things get held up sometimes, but look for it around 1:30 tomorrow. For my partners, Greg and Mario, I'm Jay. Thanks for listening to the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.